Hello, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Before we get started today, we'll take care of the housekeeping notes. In the description bar below will be all the product I used and all the dimensions. There's also a link to my online store. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you live inside the United States, I would love to be yours. And if you have any questions, my email address is also there. And there is a link to my Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. And if you like what you see on the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this video, to my channel, so we can get the channel to grow. And ring that little notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So we're going to be playing with Playing in the Rain. And I'm going to show you what we're going to be making. We're also going to be using one verse out of Celebrating You, which is The Best Is Yet to Come. So, what we're making today is a shaker card. I'm trying to get out of the glare here of my lights. I'm trying to move the light a little bit because the acetate wants to bounce the light off of it. Let's see if I turn it that way a little bit. You see all the little flowers in my little pond there. So, I'm going to show you a couple things here. First, the little animals here. Many of you may know that the DSP, and I'm not going to show you all the DSP because I don't have a whole pack. I'm waiting for my new order to come. I have pieces. But this particular DSP with the large animals will cut, there's dies that will cut that out. But I wanted the smaller animals that are on the other page. There is no die to cut these out, so I have fussy cut them. And I have already done that. But I wanted to show you that you can fussy cut these. They're fairly easy to do. But if you want the larger ones, you can just die cut them. So I love this paper. I've used a lot of it. And so the card we're going to make is similar to this one, but not exactly like it because I didn't have any more of this particular paper. So, and on the inside of the card is our little bunny. And I think it's hard to tell on here, but he is actually embossed. And this is embossed. And I'll show you how we get that. That's basic gray, and that is Balmy Blue, and it is embossed. So, and of course, there's a cute little envelope. So, let's proceed with the project. So, we'll get all the pieces out, and we're going to do all of our stamping, and then we'll do our die cutting. You need scraps of Balmy Blue and Soft Suede. And the Soft Suede's for cutting our bridge out. And this is for stamping on. And then we will go over all these pieces. And there is a piece of basic white we need to stamp on, which is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And this is for the inside of the card. And then, of course, our envelope. So we're going to set the embossing pieces aside for a second. We're going to go ahead and do the envelope first, which is going to be Memento. Stamp that just like that and set that aside so the Memento can dry. And we're going to start the embossing. I didn't grab any scrap paper. Just one moment. Let's grab a couple pieces of typing paper here. We're going to start with this one first, the blue. The blue, we're actually going to be using white embossing powder. Now, when you look at these, they look the same. You have to make sure you have keep your lids on the right ones. This one says clear, this one says white. Other than that, you really can't tell the two apart. So if you got both, be careful. And I'm going to get myself all set up here. I'm going to fold one of these in half so we have a funnel. And I'm going to get these two, and I'm going to grab this one here and set it close by. First, I'm going to take my embossing buddy and emboss. And depending on where you live, what the weather's like, you will definitely need to emboss. We have a very strong cold east wind blowing right now, and we are shocking everything we touch, and there's a lot of static. So you want to make sure you get that well covered if you live in an area where there's a lot of static. So first we're going to grab the Versamark and we're going to do the clouds and Oh Happy Day, which I sure didn't mount on that block very straight. Let's try that again. It's always good to start with halfway straight. We use Versamark and we're going to do 2 sets of clouds. One. And this one. And there's a die that cuts these clouds out. And you know what? I think I have enough room at the other side of this to stamp Oh Happy Day down here in the bottom. So that looks pretty good. So we'll set that one back aside. And I'm grabbing the white embossing powder. And just going to start sprinkling it all over my clouds and my verse. Then tap off the back. And I'm going to set this aside carefully and put my white embossing powder away. Doesn't take much embossing powder, so it lasts a long time. And I'm going to grab my other piece here that's for the inside. And I'm going to grab my rabbit and my verse. So we're going to go do the rabbit first. Yeah, and it's basic gray. First you take your, this is how you get multiple colors. You take your Versamark and you make sure that you've got a nice good coating of Versamark. This is a larger stamp, so I'm taking this, so I make sure I get it good and covered. Then you go into your gray, and it won't hurt your thing, because the Versamark's like glue, and so it actually lifts the color up into it. So that is our basic gray. I'll close the gray real quick. And I'm going to grab our Balmy Blue. And we're going to do the best is yet to come. And I'll put that about here. Oh! I forgot to take and do the ink. Hang on. I have another piece just in case I messed up. Let me grab this embossing buddy again, or I will have a mess. It's always nice to have a piece of extra paper around just in case you mess up and you forget to do something. So let's do this again. It's the Versamark, then the Balmy Blue, and then the paper. Like that. And we'll get the basic gray out again. Now I do need to wash my rabbit off real quick because there's Versamark and ink, and I don't want to put the ink, what's left, into my Versamark pad. So if you're going to do this multiple times for multiple things, you'll need to clean your stamp off in between. And then we'll get our gray. Get him down where we want him. There we go. Let me get this closed before I get any powder into these. And now I'm grabbing the clear. And putting that over my words. And I'll just run a little bit over to these guys, to the little bunny. I'm shaking it back a little bit to make sure I got his ears done. Looks very light and pale. I'll clean this up. I love embossing stuff. I think it makes your projects look really cool. I'm just going to take these and get them out of my way. And I'm going to grab the heat gun, so it's going to get a little noisy here in a second, so watch your ears. And we can start seeing it turning already. Let's grab this other one. The white's going to go really quick now. And that is our embossing. You know, I use this. You could use your pick tool. You could use the tweezers that come in the embossing kit. Just something to hold it so you don't burn your fingers. Now, I know this one is very light at the top. I'm not even sure you can see it. I can see it, but it's very light. I think if I did it again, I might do it in a darker color, but you can actually read it when you're looking at it. When you're in person, I should say. And this one I misstamped. I'm just going to do that. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to die cut and we need to color. So I think we'll do the die cutting first. Now the piece we need to die cut for the front to make our shaker is, this is the one with the raindrops on it. You could use whatever you wanted, but this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And you're going to need your large embossing machine or die cutting machine. I'm going to flip this back around so I don't have to go lefty today. And what I'm using to cut this out is I'm using the layering diorama dies, and I'm using the second smallest one. Oh, is my camera in? Hang on. Let's move that out. Anyhow, it's the second from the smallest. And I'm going to put this on there. And I'm sort of eyeballing where I think I want this. I want to leave about equal distance from both sides and up a little more at the bottom. I mean, it can move anywhere you wanted it. I'm going to put a little extra insurance so that die doesn't move. Shaker cards are really quite easy. I don't make them very often, but so we have our, you use that for something else. And so we have our little middle piece. And finish our grabbing, this time I'm grabbing the Soft Suede I'm making my bridge out of. I didn't want it real dark, but I didn't want it light either. So we'll stick that there. I'm going to take my snips and cut off the Oh Happy Day because we're going to be using it, we're going to be manually cutting that. But you could find a die that fitted or something. But I'll put that right there. I have a magnetic plate under here, and it does help hold it, but they tend to want to jump around a little bit. So, and since I've got the embossing, I don't want it jumping. And these pieces would cut out in the small machine. But since I have the big one up here, we're using the big one. So here is, this is the cute little bridge. And we'll pull our bridge out of here. We've got a few pieces stuck. They just pop right out. You could cut that in a different color and paper pieces into your bridge if you wanted. Hang on here, gotta get these out of my way here before we have them all over the room. And then there's 3 of our clouds. I don't know if we're going to use all 6 or not, but and we'll cut the next 3 out, and then we're done die cutting. Our 3 more clouds, and I'm going to set all the clouds off to the side for now. You can tell the static stuff, everything's sticking to my hands. So let me get this stuff out of my way. Okay. Now the Oh Happy Day, I just, through power of magic, I didn't figure you'd need to sit me watch me do it. I just cut around it, not real fancy, just cut around it. So it helps speed things up a little bit. So now we need to do our coloring for the inside and the few flowers. And you will need, for your envelope, and I didn't bring it out, I used a piece of this paper. You need to have some cardstock or some paper, at least a couple layers, to go inside your card, down into this corner where you're going to be coloring, or your coloring will bleed back to the back side. So just a piece of old scrap, cardstock, whatever. We're going to use a few colors. Grab them. We're sticking to very pale colors today. This is my color lifter we'll use in a few minutes. So we'll start with the bunny here. And I grabbed light gray granite. These are all light versions of whatever the stamp. Oh, I forgot. I want to use the light Flirty Flamingo first. Now put a little color right in his ears and color his nose. And then I'm going to grab the light gray granite. And I'm going to actually bleed that right into the pink. I guess I could scoot this in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. But you could do black around here, whatever you wanted, but I thought the gray looked nice with the gray granite, and it made it just really, I think, softer. And I'm going to come in here and do this, and it is, like I said, there's not a lot of coloring, it's just you could color these with watercolors, especially after you've embossed. Watercoloring would work really well. This is light balmy blue for the water. Watercolor, the watercolor pencils would look nice. And we are going to do his jacket. I think we're going to do his jacket in a little bit of Highland Heather. Give him a little purple jacket today. Like I said, I'm not getting fussy. I'm not doing shading or anything on this. I'm just using these as coloring tools. Okay, now I do want to do something else about his face. I want to take the color lifter, and I want to, he looks like he's looking up at something, like light. And I'm just going to take the color lifter, just go in here a little bit. Grab the other end. That's better. And we'll lighten his face up just a little bit so he's looking like he's looking up at something, you know, and his face is a little lighter. And I'm going off to the side to make sure both ends of this are clean and we don't have any residue on those. So that's the coloring of the bunny. And the flowers, we're going to use light granny apple green. Like I said, there's not a whole lot here. And I think we'll do a couple yellow. Actually, we're just going to do the centers in yellow. And then we'll do some pink flowers. I may come back and make one yellow. Or not. I think I'm going to grab the Highland Heather. You can make your flowers any color you wanted. I just figured I'd stick to the colors I'd used other than the yellow. And just make a pretty little bouquet on the front of your card. So that is all of our coloring. Set those out of my way. And you can see it bleeds through. So you definitely need something in there. Okay, let's build this, start building this card. So our base, let me push this back out. Base is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. My normal measurements, and this is going to go this direction. It is a horizontal card. And we're going to go ahead and stick the insides in. I like to do the insides on these before we put the shaker on the front. So there's the inside. Now, this first piece that's going on, this is a piece of DSP, and this is from By the Bay. Lovely things. But I wanted it because I wanted this that looked like water to me. And it is 4 1/4 by 4. Now, if you notice, it is an 1/8 inch, about an 1/8. I think it's an 1/8 inch. It is just slightly smaller than the one that's going over the top. And you want it just to be an 1/8 inch smaller because you don't want this to pop out the sides when you're putting the top layer on. So we're going to put that there. Get that as straight as we can. Okay. Now where are my little guys at? They're hiding. Guess I should show you what the little guys are going on the front. We have the turtle, we have the little pig, and the little dog. So they're going on the front. And next we need the top piece, which is right here. And you have to decide which way it's going to go. And I want to make sure my raindrops are going down. So first we have to take and build this up so we can put our shaker in. And the first thing we have to do is put in our acetate. Now this is an acetate sheet, and I would recommend that you clean your acetate before you put it on. You could use, these are just alcohol prep sheets, 70% alcohol. You could use hand sanitizer. You could use regular bottle alcohol and a soft rag. But you want to make sure that your acetate is as clean as possible. And I just put a tissue down. And you're going to be touching it still, but it's nice to make sure it is clean when you start. I'm just going to set this off to the side in case I need to clean something else. but it takes a second to dry. And while I'm shaking this, I'm going to grab my tear and tape. Yep, that's dry already. This piece is 3.5 by 3.5 approximately. You need something that's going to go over past your cutout. And we're going to go right around the edge of this on all 4 pieces. 4 pieces, 4 sides. I need more caffeine this morning. I already had a cup of coffee, but I don't think it was enough. So I put the tear tape on, and then we're going to take it off. Notice I'm trying not to touch that much of the center of this acetate. I'm trying to keep my hands off as much as possible. So use your paper piercer or your, something sharp to pull this up. And then you're going to take this on the reverse side and make sure you have, mine's a little off on size. I think mine was 3.25 by 3.5. You just want to make sure that you totally covered that hole. Now I'm taking my bone folder and pressing this to make sure it is good and adhered. Then you need to build a dam. And what I'm building my dam with, these are foam adhesive strips. They come in a nice pack, and you just peel them apart like this, pull it off. When you get done with this, pulling these all out, remember you can use the sides of these as well. Then just pick a point, and you want to stay back just a little bit from your hole. You don't want to be right up to the acetate, where the acetate is, because you don't want people seeing the foam, but you need it close enough that, what you're putting in it is not going to go way out of the line. And it bends. You just bend it around the way you want. Just like that. And you come up to the top and make sure that you have gone right and sealed that hole. You can see where I've done that. So I made sure there's nothing can go through there, okay? And it bends over a little bit, but it's okay. Then I'm going to grab another piece, because we have to secure the whole page. And this stuff tears really easy. You need to make sure that you're supporting your whole item here, because when you put the shakers in, if you don't and put stuff on top, it'll just collapse on you. Oop. The stuff started peeling off there, but that's okay. It will be fine. I'm going to start at the other end. So I stretch it a little. This stuff does stretch. I'll grab my snips and just snip that off. I'm not going to waste that though. Just going to set it inside there. It's already got the adhesive out. Now you still need some more support in the center, and you could use more strips if you wanted, or just grab some dimensionals. If you have edges of these, they work too. But you need, and they're almost about the exact same width, but you need to make sure you have some support on this card on the inside. If you don't have support, like I said, it will collapse on you, and especially if you're mailing it. That looks pretty good. Okay, so before I pull everything off, I want to make sure I have everybody lined up. So here's my card, and I want my card to go this direction over the top. So now what you need to do is find a position, and if you have a pattern on your paper, you can see about where you need to put your embellishments, or what you're putting in, sequins or whatever. And I can see I've got a greener spot right there. And what I am using is the Loose Daisy Embellishments. They work great for a shaker card. And I'm going to put some, I want to just sort of, and you can put as much or as little as you want. I don't want a ton. I want a few more white ones. And I'm just piling them up. Now I want them inside that thing, but I want to make sure I have nobody standing up. I don't know if you can see it on this card. When I made this one, see that one right there? He was standing upright and he won't go back down. I've tried everything. I've been shaking him like crazy. So you try to make sure that they are all laying flat, but you need them in a pile. So now we're going to start removing all of the adhesive strips. Did the center first. Now I'm doing the small ones. Just sort of working my way out, because it is sticky. But that's what you want. And then we'll start pulling the sides. And Static City around here. I know, I got bits and pieces everywhere. That's part of crafting, is having fun. So I'm going to scoot this over here so I can see where I'm going. You don't want to put this down. Make sure you don't have any fans blowing or anything when you're doing this too. Just like that. And push it all around. Make sure that everything is adhered, especially right around the frame. And there's the shaker part. Excuse me for a minute. I have to get a few of these things out of my way. I'm a neat crafter for the most part. I can't stand having loose debris around me. Not a neat freak, but I do like to have a clean work area. At least the center section. Does anybody else like me as you work? Your work area starts really big when you start, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, die cuts. What did I do with the bridge? Oh, there it is. I threw it in the bowl. Here's our little bridge, and we're going to put him about like that in the rain. And I found the easiest thing for the bridge is I'm just putting glue on this side of the bridge a little bit, and a little bit of glue on this side of the bridge. So I want the center of the bridge to be a little free. And then just hold that down for a second. And then we have our little friend. So I have this one here. I want him looking one way, and this guy's going to look at him. And then this one, I'm going to put him right at the bottom here, and he's going to sort of overlap him. Or do I want him over here? Got to play around in a little bit and figure out where you want him. About like that. Remember, when you're cutting these out, don't forget the little guy's tail. I'm cut off one already. And I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. And put him right there like he's walking onto the bridge. I'm not adding more dimensionals with these. Now, if you were hand carrying this to somebody, you could. But if you're going to mail it, I really wouldn't. You'd really be racking up the postage. And it's got quite a bit of depth already. And where do I want him over here? Decisions, decisions. I'm going to put him on this side. But you can decide where you want yours. He's going to cover a little bit of the turtle up, but that's okay. And then I'm going to put Oh Happy Day right down here in the bottom. And then we're gonna put a few clouds. Now, this is different paper, so I'm not sure how many clouds I want on this, but a couple. I'm not sure I'm gonna use the big clouds. I think I want the smaller clouds. I think we'll put one there and one there. So, like I said, you can change the clouds and, you know, make this project your own. It is fun to create a shaker card. People get shaker cards and they sort of look at them like, how did you make that? Okay, so I'll save those for something later. Oh, I need a little glue under his umbrella here. We don't want it going sailing. So this is our shaker card. I think he's rather cute. And then our inside. And of course, then we also have our pretty envelope we made. So thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you next time and have a wonderful day. Thank you.